Welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. It's time for another conversation with somebody interesting from the internet. And this week, that person is 23-year-old King Russell. And that's not a king who is Russell.
That's his first name.
That's his actual name. But you know him on YouTube and elsewhere as Kingsley. He's amassed over 2.8 million subscribers on YouTube just under 4 years. And he's most popular for these vlogs that he does, a vlog series called Overexposed. Basically, he rants about things, various pop culture things, and also stuff that he experiences in his daily life.
And it's very funny. I mean, he's a legitimately funny dude.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm watching his videos, I'm just waiting for the next thing he's gonna say that's funny. And every other thing he says is funny and very much Kingsley. I love how this space allows comedians to develop in all different types of ways, and he certainly developed his own comedic voice.
He's got a tone.
Yeah, and it's very good. You know, I think on this Ear Biscuit, we got more of the pensive side of King. We got the
He did not rant.
Introspective.
I will say that he did not rant at all, but that's not really what Ear Biscuits is about. It's not about your rants. It's kind of just about you talking about yourself and
getting more of the real side of him. So I appreciated that.
But just so you can get a taste of what the internet has come to know and love about Kingsley, here's an example of a rant. In June 2010, he released Things I Hate About Driving.
You know when you get off like a street and you're going into the highway and this lane's gonna end that you just got off on, they will literally go all the way to the end and then want to sit up here and try to get impatient when they want to wait to the last minute to try to get over into everybody's lane. You had a straight mile to get your over into the main lane.
Okay, that one's got over 3 million views to date. Here's another rant where he's talking about Rebecca Black. March 2011 has just under 9 million views.
It is the most annoying song/video I've heard/seen in my 20 years of existing on this planet. It starts out and there's like this calendar and it keeps flipping through the days of the week while a cartoon version of her annoying face is sitting up there singing her little harmonies like, yeah, yeah, woohoo, I have a test on Monday, Tuesday, got this recital, blah, 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 and then Friday gets here and this wrote all over the page, finally, hooray, yippee. She's like, I gotta get up, gotta get fresh, gotta go downstairs, get a bowl, have my cereal.
Now, Kingsley's one of the only openly gay black male online personalities that's near the top of the charts on YouTube. And he's been at it for a number of years. The momentum is still growing. He's actually just started his own podcast called Kingsley Overexposed, and we're happy to have him on our podcast, which was almost called Underexposed. Last minute change became Ear Biscuits. So that would have worked out really well on this week.
So we talked to King about how he received his first break courtesy of Tosh 0. His last name is not 0, just like King is not an actual king.
Right.
Even though maybe they both should look into those things.
Right.
We talked to King about how even though he uses a lot of profanity in his vlogs, he never cusses in front of his parents.
Mm-hmm. And we also explored the question surrounding, is he actually quitting YouTube at the end of 2014?
It's been a topic of discussion amongst his fans, viewers, and himself. We get to the bottom of that, much more in this Ear Biscuit. Let's do it.
In a recent vlog, you said that you went to the Billboard Music Awards.
I did.
And you walked the red carpet, and you said that once they started snapping pictures of you, you kind of were like,
what was going through your mind? You tell us again.
I don't know. I was just looking, like first, there's a process. They have us all line up, and then we just go to the carpet one by one. And then they called my name, and I just like went in front of the little poster thing, or backdrop, or whatever it's called. And then the photographers just start screaming. They just start screaming your name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look over here, do this, do that. And I'd never done a red carpet before. So I was just sitting up there like, what the hell is going on? Like, what am I supposed to do? I didn't know where to put my hands. I didn't know who to smile at. And then like, I just don't know how to pose. It was completely out of my element. And I was just like wanting it to be over. And you know when you like smile for a really long time and you kind of start like.
It kind of gives out a little bit.
Yeah, and you start like twitching. That was happening to me.
Well, now, have you?
Your cheeks were twitching?
Yeah.
Have you Googled Kingsley Billboard Music Awards?
I have not.
Because we did.
Oh. Do I look the same in every single picture?
No.
The picture is great.
Well, there's a number of pictures. And we learned this a couple years ago. I learned that, after you go to an event like that and they take your picture on the red carpet, the next next week, all these pictures just pop up in all these different photo sites, right?
Right.
And
your picture.
well, you have a number of pictures.
But the full body one.
Well, no.
Oh my God.
I'll show it to you
What
right
is
now.
that?
It's okay. There's a lot of your face, but then the full body one kind of like.
Oh my God, I look so angry. Oh my God.
There's lots of great pictures. This one though, when I heard your story in your vlog and then I saw this picture, I was
So
like,
describe
this is incredible.
Describe yourself.
Basically, I look bewildered or like
That's a good word.
/ pissed off at something.
It's kind of like
even looking at the camera.
deer in headlights.
Yes.
It's great though.
And your hand, and there's a wider shot of it, and your arms are just both like
Oh my
limp
gosh.
at your sides.
I know,
it's so great.
awkward. I hate it.
Hey, well,
I
listen,
hate it.
the last time, I don't know what event it was, but we walked the red carpet, and we always walk it together, right? So you feel a little bit more comfortable when you've got somebody to pose with.
Right.
But I just remember,
But you feel a little funny when they're like, "Okay, what's your name? Link, you first." It's like, no, he's
and we
coming
say
with
no.
me.
We do it together. But do you remember the
They're
last
like, "You wanna-
time
you don't
we
wanna
did this?
You're too afraid to go by yourself.
This guy said, we were doing our pose. We got just a couple of poses, right?
Yeah.
And basically one face. Because I'm like, I want this picture to be consistent throughout the internet. The guy said, do something different. One of the photographers actually said that. He's like, can you do something different? I was like, nope.
Because he wanted that one picture that like Kingsley could pull up on his podcast
Right.
when we come on there.
Yeah, that you can be
and he
embarrassed
can make
about.
fun of us.
No.
But I mean, in fairness, you were making fun of yourself. We just Googled it to see if it was real, and we
That's
found
so
out, hey, it's
embarrassing.
real. I mean, your vlogs are inspired by your experiences and your life. You're not making this stuff up,
Exactly.
and we just had to make sure of that. And in this
No.
case, it was totally true.
Totally true.
You didn't know what to do
My
on the red
arms are
carpet.
just like dead weight. It was horrible.
Well, let's go back. Where are you from?
I was born in Arkansas.
Born in
and then
Arkansas.
I moved to Missouri when I was 6. And then I was there ever since until about 2.5 years ago when I moved to LA.
Okay, so your earliest memories are Arkansas memories. What
Yes.
are those like?
Oh my goodness. Those are they're not really there, but they're there. It's funny because I was looking at where I grew up on Google Earth like 2 weeks ago.
Google Arkansas.
Yeah. And it was just like dirt. Like an inch of residential space. But it was, I don't know. Arkansas was very rural, small town. I think there were like less than 1,000 people in the town where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
We had like one elementary school, 2 gas stations, a post office, and then like houses. And like a railroad track went through the town, and everyone had to work in like the nearest city, which was like 12 miles away.
So nobody worked in this little town.
No, unless you were at the gas station or post office.
What was the name
or
of the
a
town?
teacher. Altimer, Arkansas. It's like outside of
Altimer?
Pine Bluff and Little Rock. Yeah.
That's like the incorrect way to say Alzheimer's.
I know. It's weird.
That's your town?
I know. Sometimes I want to say Alzheimer's, but I can't. But yeah.
If you don't know how to pronounce a really horrible disease, that's where I live. That's incentive to move right there.
Mm-hmm. I miss it though.
Oh,
I like
well, you're
it.
looking at it on Google Earth.
Have you been back?
I haven't been back since the last time I went was before I moved here. I went to see my sister and
Oh,
family.
so you still got family in this small
Yes,
town.
I do. Well, my sister's in the city that's like 12 miles outside of it, but I have aunts and my grandma was in the small town, but she moved like a few months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very like becoming like dilapidated and
It's like it can be a ghost town.
yeah, it's actually kind of scary.
What do you call your grandma, and what does she think of your videos?
I call her Granny actually because I have her and then I have another grandma on my mom's partner's side and I call her Grandma and then I call my mom's grandma Granny. And she hasn't seen my videos.
So
Granny
what-
hasn't?
No, I don't think so. I hope not.
Really? So
Yeah.
what's the conversation like when you talk to Granny?
It's just at this point, 'cause she's kind of older. So it's just like, how are you doing? I miss you. come visit.
She doesn't ask what you do or anything?
No. Sometimes she doesn't even, it's kind of sad. Like, she doesn't realize that I'm not at home
Oh,
when I talk to her on the phone. Sometimes, like, I don't think she realizes I'm in California. But
Okay.
yeah,
I
it's
got
one
it.
of those situations.
same thing for your grandma? She doesn't know what you do?
She's still kicking. She's like an active ass grandma. She does like running, and she's still in like choir, and she power walks like every day. She cooks. She's like superwoman.
Does she watch your videos?
No, but she knows about them.
And
I don't like when my family watches.
but I mean, but she knows what you do.
Yes.
She understands why you're out here.
Why don't you like when your family? Tell me more about that.
Well, it's just mainly the profanity, because when I'm around my family, I'm just a completely different person, and just out
Really?
of respect for like adults, I just don't use profanity. And one of the things when my mom first realized what I was doing, one of my aunts, I think, had stumbled upon me. I think after the whole Tosh.0 thing that I was on, and my mom called me when I
And
was at
briefly, what
school.
was the Tosh.0 thing?
I did this video about like a list of pet peeves that I had, and I was
Okay.
literally just sitting in my dorm room just talking about how I hated like skinny jeans and couples that sit on the same sides of the booth. It's like literally just a list of stupid things.
But you were in Kingsley.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Kingsley bitch mode.
It was like spring break, and I still had to work, and like nobody was on campus, and I was just bored out of my mind.
But
And-
your language was much more colorful than what you would use with your.
Yeah, way more colorful. I never use profanity. I said one time in front of my mom when I was in the car, I was like, "It's hot as shit," and like I didn't. It just rolled out, and I like gripped the side of like the passenger door, and I like looked at her with my eyes like so wide. And I was like, "I'm so sorry." Like that's not how I grew up. I don't know how it became.
Did
this
she
way,
smack you
but-
or something?
No, she just started laughing. She's like, "It's okay." That was literally the first and only time I've ever used. I don't curse
Really?
in front of my parents. I'm like, really? It's not how I grew up. I never.
But when you first started, like that first rant
Mhm.
video that got really popular, that had the colorful language, did you have that language in your normal life, or was it like, I'm going into a character here that I know will be funny?
It was like my first rant that I uploaded was authentic. Like I was genuinely like perturbed. And I was like, it was about like this experience I had at a parking lot of an Applebee's with the Jonas Brothers, who had a concert that summer, and like all their fans like completely took over the parking lot, like beyond the arena, and it was just a mess. And I was trying to get food, and they were everywhere with their posters and like playing music, and just how girls are when there's like a guy band. They were just completely over the top. And so-
Rabid.
yeah. And I went home, and I had been watching YouTube that summer. I think I started watching Shane Dawson was the first person I started watching. And through him, I just found other people. And I just saw them talking, and I was like, oh my God, I want to make a video about this. And so I did it. And people responded to it. And then that's like when I kind of molded the character of like
Mhm.
this outlandish, profane, careless being.
But that first video was just going on anger and adrenaline and frustration.
Yeah.
And so this language that you were never allowed to say was coming out.
And it felt good.
It felt good.
Yes.
So tell me more about your parents back then and kind of growing up. Well, I mean, does that mean that they were really strict or really heavy-handed?
They weren't strict. Like, okay, my parents are lesbians. It's my mom and her partner. And I just never, I guess it's strict. Like, I couldn't watch TV a lot. Like, I watched 2 hours of TV a day. That was my limit. And I had like an hour and a half limit for the internet. And all the movie channels were blocked. Anything above like PG-13 was blocked. Like, I was very, I guess, sheltered in a way.
Was it like a religious home too, or?
No, it was just they wanted me to be a kid, I guess. I have no idea like what their intentions were, but I didn't have a lot of exposure to like profane or crazy things.
Well, and let's back up a second, because you say your parents are lesbians. I assume a man was involved at some point in the process.
Very early on in the process.
So how did that happen?
I still to this day don't really know the full story, but I know that my dad left my mom when she was pregnant with me. And so with her, it was like a situation of just being in Arkansas, and it was very close-minded down there. And it's like she wanted kids. Like my sister's older than me, so she'd had my sister already, and like she was just doing what she needed to do to like survive, I guess. Not be judged. She was just doing the whole Southern with a man having kids thing, and then I think that she met her partner when I was, I want to say 3-ish. And they've been together ever since. And we moved, like I said, when I was 6, we all moved to St. Louis. And that was just life as I knew it.
But you didn't. I think in one of your videos, you mentioned that your parents, your mom and her partner were together.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't. You just thought they were friends. There was like this.
Yeah, I didn't.
There was a point, right?
It's like,
where your mom wasn't out to you.
Right. When I was younger.
Okay.
She told me when I was very young, but I didn't care. Like, she literally one day came in my room and sat on the floor, and she's like, we are what society would call lesbians. I didn't know what the hell she was talking about. I was just like, okay. But, like, it was a situation where, like, you have someone's, like, dating someone, a woman dating a man, and, like, if she has a kid, she'll be like, this is Uncle Steve.
Yeah.
It's really not Uncle Steve. Like, I think, from what I remember, she told me that was my aunt. And so I thought they were just like living together. But again, I was so young, I didn't care. I didn't really know what was going on.
Right.
But more in a protective way of, I don't want to tell Kingsley that I'm dating this person that could be another mom to me or whatever. And then we break up. And then, I guess I take it that that's what you mean. There was like a protection on that level.
Yeah,
it wasn't really, I didn't want to protect him from understanding that I'm dating a woman.
Right. And I think it was a situation where she wanted me to know when she felt I was ready, to where maybe like I didn't get made fun of or something. I don't know what she was thinking, but either way, I didn't care.
So what was that part of the move to St. Louis? Was that one of the things that motivated it? What was, being a small town Arkansas as a lesbian couple?
For sure. I think that, and then just career opportunities. For us in the Midwest, like St. Louis is like a big city. So it was like a super big deal to move from where we were to Missouri. And it was just great. It was like, I felt like a chance for them to start fresh, and then me and my sister to start fresh. Because we moved like right before I started kindergarten or anything. So it was just a completely new start. And it was awesome.
Was it like a mind-blowing announcement when like she went from being, what's her name? And what do you call her? Like, you call her mom too, or?
Oh, no, I don't. I call her by her first name.
Okay.
Yeah, I call my mom. But I still consider her my mom. I just don't call her mom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But was it like a mind-blowing announcement? Oh, now my mom's friend is now my mom's spouse or partner.
No, I really, when she told me, I didn't comprehend anything. I don't think I realized.
Because you were still young then.
Yeah, I don't think until I got to like middle school, high school, did I start to realize like what a lesbian was.
Okay.
And like what my parents were. And
how did that relate to your understanding of yourself as being gay? Did your mom was always out to you. Were you always out to yourself too?
No, me like being gay was so weird. Like I feel like I obviously knew, but I never mentioned it to anyone. I didn't even mention it to my parents. The first time we even remotely talked about a guy, I was working at Fridays, and it was my senior year of high school. And this kid from Detroit was like there with like 5 of his friends, and he gave me his phone number. And I was working at the host stand, and he was just flirting, and I just felt like really, really like, I don't know how I felt. I was just feeling some type of way that I'd never felt before in my life. And like my mom,
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my mom picked me up, and I just told her about it. I'm like, oh my God, this guy came in, and he was really cute, and blah, blah, blah. And like that was that. Like I never thought twice about it. It wasn't a big deal. And then until I was in college, which was like maybe like a year after this, she called me up, and she literally just said to me, say it. I'm like, say what? She's like, that you're gay. And I started laughing for like 5 minutes. And then I eventually said it. And like, that was that. So that they knew. It was never a situation where I felt the need to like announce it.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you know?
I feel like I knew in like 8th or 9th grade. I feel like that's when I'm trying to remember who it was, but I remember like having my first crush on a guy in middle school. So I want to say like 8th grade. Yeah.
Okay, and that was in St. Louis. So you moved to St. Louis right before starting school, basically. And what was that like? New kid.
At first, like I don't remember it like distinctly, but I know I was excited. Like I wasn't sad or anything. I was always like adventurous. I remember just being on planes. Like I loved flying. I loved traveling. And it was only 6 hours away. So like when we first moved, we visited a lot. But I don't know, I wasn't a shy kid. Like I was just ready for the world. And I went to school. I always loved school. And I just thought St. Louis was like a cool place. I immediately got involved in a bunch of stuff and it was a pretty good experience.
And what were you into at that time? Were you like I know from your vlogs and that you were a smart kid. That
Yeah.
immediately they recognized, okay, this kid is gifted.
Mhm.
Put him in some advanced classes and that kind of thing.
I started out and my first passion, I guess, was choir. I sang in church when I was like 4 or 5. And then when I started school in St. Louis, I joined choir in first grade. I got into orchestra. I played the violin.
Really?
Yes, I did. And then I
So you were a
played.
nerd.
I was a little gay nerd. And then I played the saxophone in band once I got to 5th grade, but I only did that for like 2 years. So yeah. And then I was involved in theater and Scholar Bowl, Spelling Bee, I was very immersed in school because I didn't get to do much outside of school. Not that I need to as a child, but like I just liked doing things. I liked staying after school. I liked meeting different people in different activities and just like being involved and knowing the teachers. Like from a very young age, I just liked networking. If that makes any sense.
But if you weren't out to your mom until college, then I guess you weren't out to your friends either. So that was kind of like,
I didn't say it, but they knew. Like even with some of my friends in high school, like I would talk about guys. I just was never one of those people that was like, I'm gay. And I wasn't part of like the Gay Straight Alliance. I didn't do anything proactive, I guess, that I could have to be more part of the community. I just was.
It wasn't part of your public identity at the time.
I don't know if I wasn't comfortable with it, but the way that school was, I just never felt the need to like make it a big deal.
but you made a big deal out of Britney Spears
Yes.
instead,
I think that was the dead giveaway.
right?
For everyone.
So tell me about that, the Britney obsession.
You know, it's actually my mom's fault. I was in my room one night. I'd been doing homework and I just heard this and I was like, what are you watching? Like, what are you listening to? And I like peeked my head around the corner and she was watching like music videos and Toxic was on. And I was just fascinated and I was like, oh my God. And then back then, like there was no like Vivo or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would literally like watch the TV channel that MTV had that showed like music videos 24 hours trying to catch that video, like any chance that I got. And I finally saw it and ever since then, I was just fascinated.
And what specifically? I mean, because obviously there are other female pop stars. What is it about Britney?
Well, initially it was just that specific song and that video and how she looked. And I ended up going back and listening to like her old stuff because as like a Black person, like Britney wasn't, like I knew who she was, but in my house, she wasn't like a fixture, which obviously she was like to the world at that time. And I don't know, I just fell in love with her music. And then I would see her perform and then the whole crap happened where she like lost her mind.
Mm-hmm.
And her
that
hair.
just made me like her. Yes, and her hair. And that just made me like her even more because I felt like she was someone relatable who like got super famous and couldn't handle the pressure and just cracked. And then
You did a
came back.
presentation on her at some point?
I did a presentation in this like graphics media class or something. We had to do a PowerPoint on like a person that was important to our lives, like a celebrity, not like anyone. And so
Okay.
I picked her, and that was a disaster.
Okay, tell us about that.
I was in the class. There was me. I think there was actually, I don't think there were any girls in that class except for the teacher. And I don't know, like all the guys picked like athletes or like rappers or I don't even know. And then it was my turn.
And what's the demographic breakdown of your school and of this class? I mean, is this a public school? Or
Yeah, it's a public school. I'd say mostly white and Black students.
Okay.
There weren't a lot of there wasn't much besides that where I'm from.
Right.
So, and it was just like all guys in the class. And I I went up to give mine, and like they just started saying like just rude things, and like they just didn't care. Like the teacher was in the room, and they just didn't care, and she would tell them to stop, and they just kept going, and then like they try to whisper it, and like I just heard everything, and like I made it through my presentation.
And what are
but
they
then
saying? What are some?
Just calling me like a fag, and like laughing and saying that I was gay for like picking her, and just ignorant things. But I dealt with it in that class before, just being who I was, I guess. And that that day just kind of like broke me, and I like ended up in the hallway, and I was just crying, and the teacher was like yelling like crazy.
At the students.
Yeah,
And did she come out there and talk to you? I mean, how
She
did
did.
you? What
She
were the
talked to
next
me,
few
and then-
hours? And then how do you recover from something like that?
I don't know. She came out and talked to me, like as soon as I went out there, and then she went back in and yelled, and then she sent me to the counselor's office. I was in the counselor's office for like an hour. None of the kids got in like trouble, well, as far as I know, but I don't know. It was just very. I don't think, because at that point, which is also, I guess, a crucial part of the story, I was a new student. This was 8th grade. And so prior to that, for the 7 years, I'd been in another school district. And so I was a new kid. And I just had never been in that situation before, to where people didn't know me or weren't used to like how I acted or the things that I liked. And so it's just extremely overwhelming. And I just had to cope with it. It was a very messy period of my life. Like my
Yeah.
grades dropped and everything.
I mean, yeah. For how long was the recovery? I mean, as a 8th grader.
I'd say I didn't recover until I was in high school. It was like a huge like blow to my personality, to my just everything. Because I was just like, I was so carefree when I was younger. Like I didn't care about anything. I was just super nice. And like I talked to everyone. And then once I moved and went through that, it was just like, whoa, not everyone's, accepting. Not everyone's the same. And so it eventually came out that I was getting like bullied, I guess, when my parents went to a parent-teacher conference, because I hadn't told them anything, just because I was that kid, and like we moved, and I don't want to like make it seem like anything was wrong. And I was just like, yeah, I'm having fun at school. But then they went to conferences, and my teachers were like, he's having a rough time. And they talked to me about it, but that was like near the end of the semester.
So you were kind of keeping it to yourself.
Yeah.
So in high school, it was kind of an upswing of, okay, I'm moving on from this valley, this low point.
Right. High school, I think, it was a good time because it became a point where you can kind of figure out who's also interested in what you're interested in. There were a lot more activities to join, and there was just so many more people from like all the middle schools in the district, and it was just so much more diverse. And so it was nice I felt like I was starting over. Like I met new people that didn't go to my middle school, and it was a refreshing start.
You said in a recent video, if you had to do high school over, that, how did you put it?
I said that I would come out of the closet immediately and just be open for business. Was my exact quote.
But you're laughing at yourself. I mean, is that...
It's the truth. I always think of like doing things over. And I know people say, oh, I wouldn't change a thing, but I would definitely change some things. Because I already have this life. I would like to see how it would be different.
Moving on to college, you mentioned, it seems like college kind of was like a wild time.
You go off to University of Missouri.
Yes.
So you had to, I mean, you ended up doing pretty well in high school, it sounds like, in order to, and did you get scholarship there? Is it?
I got like a $2,500 scholarship.
Okay, so you got a partial scholarship to
Yeah, not the one I wanted.
Mizzou.
Yeah.
And did you go to school with some people that you already knew, some friends?
I actually went to school with my best friend from high school. And then there was just like a circle of people that you knew from high school that were going.
Yeah.
That you had like we'll keep in touch and we'll see each other. That we did that. And it was just so cool. Like my parents, like I said, I had been super, super sheltered. And so prior to, like I hadn't been one of those kids that like partied in high school or drank or anything. I never had alcohol before. And we got there the first week, and they had a frat party on like the first day after classes. And we went there, and like, I don't know how I was like standing up. This was literally the first time I ever drank alcohol, but I was a pro. And I think in my head, I just accepted the role of like big brother, because it was me and then like 3 girls. And we just got to a point where they were completely wasted and it was just time to go. And I'm trying to get us to a cab. And I was holding her like under her boobs because that's as much, I'm a skinny guy. And I was just trying to like get her there without like dropping her on the floor. And she just peed. She just completely peed like while I was holding her as though I wasn't there. And I'm just like, okay, cool. You're welcome. And I was just so annoyed.
Well, it's actually warm to start, and then it becomes cool.
Thanks for the reminder. That horrific flashback. But I did actually drop her at that point.
Yeah, that was the good
set her
time.
down against the wall.
And that was the defining moment of college for you?
Yeah, that's when I was like, okay, this is real. I'm here and it's about to be a mess.
And it became a mess from there? In what way?
It just, I just felt so free. Like nothing against my parents, but it was awesome to like be in a place where you go to class, you do your homework when you want, you turn it in, you have like freedom, you can go eat what you want, go back to your room when you want.
And is that when you started making videos on YouTube?
I started like a month before I left
for
university.
Okay.
I was working my ass off, and I just.
Hey, what was your job?
I was working at Fazoli's, which was like a fast food Italian.
Italian, oh yeah.
Garlic sticks.
Yes, you guys know about Fazoli's?
Oh yeah,
my God. Nobody
Fazoli's.
knows about Fazoli's. It's so good, so good. I was doing that, and then I was a waiter at TGI Fridays. And I also did room service there because we were attached to a Crown Plaza. So I just made hella tips and I was saving it off for school.
Is that where you have Flair? The pins? Is that TGI Fridays or that's Ruby Tuesdays?
No, it's Fridays.
No, that's It's you have the pins, right?
What kind of pins? The gold pins?
Like on your suspenders.
Like buttons. And
I didn't have any suspenders.
Is that no? We're thinking the
We
wrong
have like
thing.
red shirts with like checkers.
There's a place where they call it Flair. Like and however many buttons the waiter has attached to their suspenders is how much flair they have. That's not TGI Fridays, I guess.
I thought it was.
I know we did have a reward system. It wasn't called Flair.
It's a similar restaurant.
It might be now.
And I'm sure that people listening know what I'm talking about, but I can't remember Anyway, you didn't have suspenders on.
No, I didn't. But it was awesome. And
that's the Jonas Brothers vlog. You were vlogging from the perspective of an employee at Applebee's.
No.
It was TGI Fridays.
Oh.
Yeah, I worked at Fridays, not Applebee's.
But you ate at Applebee's.
Maybe Applebee's is where they got Flair.
Maybe it is.
I did. I was cheating.
Oh.
Yeah, I was with our enemy. But
which is better?
Which is better?
Which has better food?
Fridays, no doubt.
Okay.
Although Applebee's appetizers are just amazing. But their entrees, Fridays, without question.
Okay. Everybody's got a right to their own opinion. Just kidding.
So when you posted that first rant video, when you were cheating on your job at Applebee's, it was because you had been watching Shane Dawson. You're like, okay, if I'm angry about this, this can be the way for me to get it out. Or were there other motives too? Like, I also want to be a YouTuber and I'm going to try it right now.
No, it was literally just, the whole like motive, I guess, was after I saw Shane, I like found vloggers through him. I found this guy Quadir. I found Chris Crocker. Like I just found a whole bunch of people. And like I was fascinated by the aspect of connecting with people. One of the first things I started doing was doing reality show recaps, just to see other people who had similar interests and like conversate with them. Like I was always in the comments just talking and seeing who had similar thoughts. So that was like my main motivation. And then when this happened, I did it literally just to like get it out, just to like have a story to tell. I didn't know anything about being a YouTuber. I didn't know what being a YouTuber was.
But did you know that you were funny? Because, there's a lot of vloggers out there. There's a lot of people who just share the details of their life. And I know there's a lot of people who are really interested in that. That's not the kind of content that I consume. But with you, once you get going, it's like a stand-up comedian as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you've got comedic timing, the way you phrase things. It's really funny. And is that the kind of thing that you're like, I know why people are going to like this? Or did your friends know, like, oh yeah, Kingsley, he's funny?
Yeah. People in school told me I was funny. It was never a situation where I thought I was funny, and I didn't like start uploading because I thought I was funny. I uploaded just to be able to talk to people. They told me I was funny, and that felt good. But I never, like even to this day, like I don't watch myself. Like, clearly, I don't think anyone does.
But you edit
like,
yourself.
Yeah, I edit it, and then I watch it that one time to make sure there's no errors, and then I upload it, and I'm done. Like, I hate hearing myself talk. I'm actually, like, in awe that some people have done it for 5 years. Power to them.
But I mean, but when you edit it, I mean, when I watch it, it's at least every third cut it's going to be on a joke. I mean, it's going to be on what's he going to say next, and then the cut. You know, you're at this point, you're very much, it's down to a science. You know where you're going to get your questions, you're going to get your content or your inspiration from, and then you're going to format it to, I assume it's not scripted. It's more like this, not. Maybe it's just an outline in your head.
It's like my skits are scripted, but the rants and the vlogs, I talk. I might have a Post-it note to remind me of topics if I do more than one, but usually I just do one a video, and so I just let it go. And
like stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
And then when you edit it, you're kind of going out on joke or out on, I mean, for me, it's I'm waiting for you to say it in the way that only you can say it, and then you're out. And then it's another one, and then it's another one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so, how much are you cutting out?
I would say I cut out, I think on average I record like 8 to 10 minutes, and then my videos are like 4 minutes long. So what, 60%? Is that the math? So I cut out that much.
That's a lot of natural funny if you can just bang it out in 8 minutes.
I feel like I've learned my audience at this point, and like I know what kind of phrases they like. I know what kind of commentary they want to hear, and I just never want to like ramble for too long. And that's what I delete a lot, is if I like am like piling on a certain topic, and I'm like, oh, you said this already. That doesn't need to be said twice.
So if it takes you 10 minutes to make the video and you edit it down to 4 minutes, what do you do with your free time?
Me? Well, I have a podcast.
I asked that question like a fan who, when they hear that somebody's a YouTuber, they assume that. What do you mean? You work for 10 minutes a week? I know that's not the case.
Know, it's a mess.
But you know, you do have a lot of things going on. So I mean, because fast forwarding from college, you moved. Well, tell us how you got out here. Then we can kind of talk about what you do now that you're out here.
Did I get out here? Actually, it was a very like random. I had no plans. Like I've always wanted to move to LA. Not because of YouTube, like even before that, just for a different experience than the Midwest. I wanted to go somewhere that was like more diverse and open and had a lot more people and opportunities. And I had been dating this guy. Well, okay, like my video, I started school in August of 2009. And then my video that was on Tosh went viral April 2010. So the end of my freshman year was kind of like weird. I was working at Subway. I'd worked like 4 jobs.
You're a sandwich artist?
Yes, I was a sandwich artist.
Wow.
I was working at Subway. I worked at a movie theater. I worked at Toys R Us for seasonal. And that's what I was. That was
so like you did Toys R Us over Christmas?
Yeah, I worked there from
wow,
my
that's
first
a rough
day
time.
was Black Friday.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
It was a disaster.
Okay, tell us about that.
I felt like I wanted to quit, but I couldn't. It was just ridiculous. I had went home for Thanksgiving break, and then I had to, because my school was only like 90 minutes from where I grew up. And we got there at like 5 in the morning, and I was just like, oh, it doesn't look too busy yet, because the doors opened at 6 or something. And as soon as like they opened, I was just completely, I didn't know what was going on. Mothers were like constantly asking questions. Kids were running around, and I was there from open to close.
Yeah, it's my first day.
I know. It was horrific. It was traumatizing.
So Tosh kind of he rescued you from that.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Did he make fun of you in the show? Because he can be really harsh.
He was not as harsh as I've seen him be. Like the worst thing he said, because one of the things I said was like, I hate being on chat roulette and all I see is penis. And he like riffed like, oh, I'm sure he's not so upset about seeing penis or something like that. That was all he said. So it was funny. I laughed. And
then from that viral video, you're like, I got to do more of this. Like, what was the game plan?
Actually, I was like kind of in shock. Like after I did that video, I did like 3 more and then I stopped for a bit. It was just weird. Like after it happened, after spring break, like I went back to work and like people were coming in and just like knowing who I was. And they were asking me to like say lines from the video and stuff. And I'm just like, whoa, this is freaking awkward. Like,
Would you
what
say
do
the lines?
No. I was working. I was like, no. Like I wasn't rude or anything. I just like laugh it off. And I was like glad when school ended that year because I didn't know what the hell was going on.
But you took a little break, but then you kind of doubled down on it?
I did because it was summer and like, no offense to Missouri, but I was so bored. I had absolutely nothing to do. And making videos, like it was fun. And it's not like there wasn't like that video went viral, but I still didn't have like a lot of subscribers or like I was getting more. But at that point, it wasn't something I looked at or even knew. Like I still didn't understand what YouTube was.
Or
I
not
didn't
really
know.
making much money
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. So it was just all weird. I was still doing it for fun.
So then when did it switch to, oh, I can make enough money here to decide to move to LA? Or
You want to know the honest truth?
of course.
I didn't like start taking YouTube seriously like as a business until like last year.
Oh yeah.
Like even beyond me moving out here. I moved out here because of it.
So okay, well then tell me how you decided to move out if it wasn't a financial decision.
It was a love decision. Well, not really love, more like drama. I went to a Britney Spears concert in Michigan.
There she is again.
I know, just every point of my life. And the guy I was with, we've been dating for like 2 months. And then he was texting this other guy, just like inappropriate things. I won't go into detail. But essentially, I like broke up with him and made him fly back to Missouri. And then my friend Stephanie went to the concert with me instead. And my friend Caitlin, who I went to school with at Mizzou, was moving out to LA 2 weeks from then. And she'd been looking for a roommate. And like, I was about to start my junior year. And it was just like a point in life where I didn't care about school. Like I wanted to finish school one day, but at that point I just felt like I was like getting into debt. Like I wasn't motivated. I wasn't learning anything new. I had the thing with the guy, and so I was just in like this weird, awkward place of just like, I need a change. And like literally when I left Michigan, I called my mom in the car because I had like an 8-hour drive. And I told her like, I want to move to LA. Like Caitlin needs a roommate. She's my friend. I have enough money saved. Which I did. Like I didn't have like a lot, but
And that was from all the jobs that you worked plus a little YouTube money, or
a
okay.
little bit of AdSense.
Okay, so you had already activated your ads and all that.
Yes. And so I don't know, it was just the end of summer. I was like in kind of a low place and I saw an opportunity to go somewhere different and new where I had opportunities where I had at this point in time. Like I didn't know when again I would have the money to do it. I didn't know when I'd have a roommate, when I'd have a ride. Like I just felt like it was one of those opportunities. Like if I didn't take it then, I would have never ever been here. And so I did that, and then here I am.
And when was that? How long ago was that?
This was August, September 2011.
Okay.
I moved out here September 13th of 2011.
Okay. And what was it like? I mean, when you got out here, had you ever been to LA before?
I had not. I didn't even visit. It was completely just dreams and like a ideal, I guess, scenario I had in my head of what it was that I just thought that I could ever move here without ever having had visited. And I was overwhelmed at first. We lived in Redondo Beach, which for people that don't live here, it's kind of more suburban, not as busy. My roommate was doing like beach volleyball, so we moved there more so for her. And it was just like awesome.
Like professionally?
Yeah, she actually went, which was another thing. She left me like 3 or 4 months into us living here to go play in Croatia for like 5 months. I was like, you bitch. I was so mad. But it was great the first few months. It was nice just being in a new environment. It was nice to go to West Hollywood and see like an abundance of gay people like just in the streets and like no one judging them, or it was just a completely different city and life that I had ever experienced before.
And what did you begin to do in terms of YouTube? How did moving out here
Did it pick up or?
change things for that?
It did. I was way more motivated just because I feel like I wasn't in school. I had a lot of time. I was trying to get a job at Blockbuster. I remember when I moved out here, but like months after, like they all closed.
Yeah, that was.
So it was just like, I guess I missed that.
You were about to have every sort of, I don't know what the word is, but you've been a waiter.
Yeah.
You know, you worked at Toys R Us. And you
Mhm.
wanted to get the video store credit, so you
I
could have
did.
like all those types
That
of
was
jobs.
like my dream job forever. I always dreamed of working in a video store. I loved that. But
You missed your wrong time, you know.
I know, it was sad. But I just was, I was going like really hard on YouTube. I made this little backdrop. I thought I was so cool. I had like this collage of like celebrities behind me for when I talk about pop culture. And it was just like, it was great. I felt like re-energized. And then I signed with an agency like that first summer. And I worked with like Scooter Braun. Like when I moved out here, I just was completely just like, oh my God, like this is awesome. This is what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Scooter, he's who
He's
Who
a
does he
manager.
manage?
He manages Justin Bieber,
That's
The
right.
Wanted, Ariana Grande.
Well, I mean, and since coming out here, I mean, over these past 3 or so years, I mean, the momentum has only continued to grow for you.
Mhm.
You've been one of those voices on YouTube that kind of gets this initial wave of momentum and then maintains it, which is not an easy thing to do.
Mhm.
And now you announced at the end of 2013 that, and you know, at the end of 2014, I'm done with YouTube. So what's up with that?
I have to like add an asterisk to that. I'm done
Uh-huh.
vlogging. I'm
Okay.
done vlogging.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You're
it's
not leaving YouTube.
no. I'm still doing like skits and more premium end quote programming, but I just won't be vlogging anymore.
Okay,
It's-
what's the rationale? And is there a risk associated with that?
There's definitely a risk. The rationale first, like it's gotten to a point for me where it's just hard to like continuously discuss things by myself. Like I can't just be in a room conversating to the camera. There's only so many different things I could say, so many comments I can make. And when I got the opportunity to do my podcast, that's why I kind of jumped on it because I loved the idea of having a co-host and having guests and like this team of people that you're like working off of. And that's something that I've desired because, like I said, it's just gotten hard for me to talk constantly by myself. And I started doing skits. Well, I did them like on and off when I was in college, but I got into it at the beginning of last year, and everyone responded well to it. So I was just like, this is what I'd enjoy doing because I went to school for journalism, and we had to take like all these writing courses, and I did creative writing, and I've always enjoyed writing. Like even in elementary school, I wrote these books that are still like at my house. I wrote these like murder mysteries. I have like 7 of them, and they're each like 60 pages. But I just always liked being creative, and so when I saw the opportunity to like switch over from just me talking to like writing skits and like writing content. And then I talked to people like Jory Graceffa who did like storytellers. And I
Mhm.
just see all these like other aspects of things that like inspire me and make me like excited to do a video or to create content. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm just like, oh, I'm talking just because this is what you guys like. Because I feel like there's a point where they can realize you're not really into it anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to happen.
But you gave him over a year notice. That's
I did.
quite an advance
I wanted
notice.
them to know. Like I didn't want to be like dramatic about it. Like I didn't want to have it be December and be like, well, that was my last vlog. And everyone's like, whoa, what?
But
So,
I'm sure even though you gave the year notice, I'm sure you got a lot of upset fans. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just what happens, right?
yeah.
It might be a brilliant marketing scheme. I mean, how many last albums has Jay-Z had? You know? This is it. And this is it. And this is it.
I know.
Well, did you have
So
any of
that
those
could be smart.
those dramatic messages where people said, "You don't understand. I mean, your vlogs are what get
I
me
know.
up."
I still get tweets like every day. At
Mhm.
least one.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like good that they have enjoyed it so much, but then it also makes me like scared to like do something new because I'm like worried about how they're gonna respond to it. But I feel like every time I've tried something new on my channel, there's been the thing that I like about YouTube is that people can be honest and like you can tell if your audience likes what you're putting up or if they don't. And at this point, I'm just at a point where it's like, okay, they're either gonna like it or they're not. I'll keep what they like, and then what they don't, I'll scrap. And so it's just all like anxious. I'm anxious.
Are you developing more of a detailed plan of what next year will look like already? I mean, is it,
Yes.
because when you talk about skits, you mean scripted content where you're playing multiple characters. It's
Not
still
just me.
kind of a vlog format, right? Well, what you've been doing, what you've done.
Yeah, but this will be more like web series-ish.
Okay.
I've written a bunch. Like I've written like 2 seasons of one thing, and like we're still planning everything else right now. So it's like,
Murder mystery?
nah, I wish, but maybe one day. But we have like 5 things we're like fleshing out, and like over the next few months, I'll be like filming stuff and editing it, and like just having everything ready to go by January. Yeah. So it's really nerve-wracking, but hopefully it's planned really well.
What's it?
But-
I mean, can you tell us the name of the series?
No, I can't.
Can you tell us one word of the name of the series?
Internet.
Internet is one of the
It's
words.
got internet in it.
It does.
Is another one Kingsley?
Nah.
Internet
Nah.
overload.
Kingsley.
It's actually, if you think about it, I think you can get the rest of it, but I'm not going to confirm or deny.
How many words?
2.
It's okay, and one of them's internet.
Yes.
The internet.
The internet.
Would you rather win the title the greatest gay YouTuber or the greatest black YouTuber?
I think I'd probably say greatest black.
Why?
Just because it's more distinctive. And I feel like I stand out more as opposed to
Distinctive?
gay. You know, you have Tyler and Troy and like 50,000 other people, it feels like. So I would just like to own my blackness.
So there's more gay YouTubers than black YouTubers.
I feel like there is.
So you want to...
I just want to like, honestly, both these titles are a mess. But I think that, I just feel like if I said greatest gay, that would be a lie because it's clearly Tyler Oakley. Tyler Oakley is the best that ever was. And so I just would feel wrong claiming that title when I know damn well that it isn't true.
Oh, but you can take the title of best black YouTuber.
Yes, I will. I will wrestle Daystorm in a pit of mud until I snatch the crown.
Now-
well, you should probably charge pay-per-view or something
I
for
know.
that.
Now, to expand.
He's got a bad knee, by the way.
Well, I
Oh,
think it's
God.
better now. I think it's better now.
He's probably still-
He's done a lot of rehab.
He's probably still weak in the knee.
Every
so-
time I see his Instagram, he's run up a mountain or something like that. So I think he's doing fine. But this leads to another question, which is what Link was kind of exploring was this aspect of people categorize people, and on YouTube, any form of entertainment it's done that much more.
Mhm.
But then when you're trying to kind of break through in a medium like YouTube, where it's not about who's promoting you, it's not about what network you signed with. So much of the success of a YouTuber is just based on the YouTuber, right? It's just based on the content that they create and how they connect with an audience. And anytime you have a distinctive, it can be an edge in a lot of ways, right?
Yes.
So you've got a distinctive of being gay, you've got a distinctive of being black, and those put you in a minority when it comes to just the overall YouTube. But you probably weren't thinking any of these things when you got involved. You were just like, I'm going to rant about this.
Right.
When did it kind of hit you that you were like, oh, I am sort of potentially the best black YouTuber? Like when did you start thinking in those categories that people were probably already categorizing you in?
I think the first time was when I discovered Tumblr. There were like GIFs or do you guys say GIFs or GIFs?
We say GIFs
GIFs.
around here.
Okay.
GIFs.
GIFs. The GIFs of myself. I would see people like, who's the funny black guy? And I was like, oh, are they talking about me? And that was the first time I saw myself like labeled. And then when I was with a network and we were just looking at stats and I just saw like the lack of color on like the top 100, 200 list. And I was like, oh, wow, this is very interesting. Like race and sexuality isn't something I think about a lot. So I guess it was kind of an eye opener. And I saw it as something that could work to my advantage if it needs to. But I just never ever think about it.
But when you kind of alluded to earlier in the conversation of there being a Kingsley character. I mean, our conversation has been this kind of, it's been kind of, it's been laid back, but it's not the on-camera persona. So I'm glad you're giving us the real you, which kind of clarifies, is it just amped up? Is it a character? And is there a temptation to be, because these are your labels, to be gayer, to be blacker?
I definitely, there is. One of the things I talked about when I did my Draw My Life is just what I went through in 8th grade, how I kind of became like subdued and more conscious of what I was saying and how I was acting. When I make my videos, I kind of keep in the back of my head that they're like, I didn't have YouTube growing up, and right now I feel like a lot of kids do. And some of them, from like the things they write, I know they see people like me and Tyler and whoever they're watching, and they just feel inspired because of the way we are. And for me, my whole demeanor of like not caring and being strong and outgoing, that's just something I want to project so that if like a gay kid is watching me and they do behave that way, they can see that it's okay. So it's definitely like intentional and on purpose. But it at the same time, like it's who I am, but it's just such a huge magnification of that. Like how you said, I'm not like that all the time. But I think for the sake of entertainment and for making these people laugh and just trying to make them happy, I can do that for like, 4 minutes every other day.
or 10 minutes and then edit it down.
Yeah.
Edit 60% out.
Well, we wish you the best, man. We've enjoyed getting to know you, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me. It was fun.
Sign the table.
Appreciate it. Ooh.
And there you have it, our ear biscuit with King,
So,
AKA Kingsley.
Right, and I think we got King, not necessarily Kingsley.
Yeah, not the character, the real person.
Yeah, meaning that he was just very much in an introspective mood. I think that was one of the interesting things is I think when you watch his videos, sometimes he gets really worked up and you might have to cut your headphone volume down a little bit. But I almost felt like I wanted to turn him up because he's a very mild-mannered guy in person. I think a lot of people might be surprised by that, but I think we captured that.
And that's what you get with an ear biscuit. You get the flip side at times. You get the real side. So. Well, and that's what I'm continually excited about this show, that we can do that. There's no pressure to perform.
But it does raise a question, Link. Are you in character right now? Are you
right now?
Right now, are you being the real Link? Have you been in character our entire lives?
That's funny, right?
I mean, I just wondering because we do a lot of entertaining together. We're always talking to each other, but also talking to an audience.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we're in the conversation with somebody, it's very, I think, you listening can tell that we're just asking legitimate questions. But right now, there's an amped up kind of a little characterization. I mean, on Good Mythical Morning, are we being ourselves or are we in character? We're in a character that is a heightened version of ourselves. And even right now, I'm not giving you the heightened Link the character,
really?
But I'm not giving you Link the
Link just woke up?
The Link that is just, there's no mic in front of my face and there's not an audience listening. I'm talking to you, listener, and I'm talking to you, Rhett. Your name's Rhett, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's
because my voice when I'm not in character,
it's still this silky smooth.
No. My voice is like this. It's
kind of mopey.
It's the natural me wants to speak like this, very low and like a robot. The kind of voice that would talk you through something if an instruction manual were to...
Like a really bad audiobook.
please.
Like a really technical audiobook
Thank you for purchasing
about like intro to circuits.
the
Part
Happy Jack.
5.
No, it would be like, thank you for purchasing the Happy Jack's Jungle Gym. Guaranteed to provide years of fun for you and your family.
There's like an audio track for the Happy Jack to Jungle Gym?
If there was.
Like what, to put it together?
To put
Like
it
an
together.
audio instruction assembly?
Make sure you have the following tools. Rubber mallet, screwdriver. That's pretty much all you need. Everything else is in the kit.
but
That's
then you
how
would say,
I want to speak.
Lay out everything from the kit and make sure you have it all. I know you're not actually going to do that, but the people in customer service require that I tell you to lay out everything in the kit.
But this is a great idea, not just because it's how I really speak, but because if I had an audio instructional manual, I would know how long I was supposed to be taking to do things. When I look at
like the total runtime of the audio, is that what you mean?
Yeah. It's like, now you should have gotten like the first rung on. Now you should have the first rung on.
So you don't have to pause the
It's
audio
real time.
instruction. It's
real time.
He's like, I'll wait.
Well,
I'm still waiting.
It would be timed so that you were doing it at normal speed. Because when I'm building something, I
If
want to
you were
know how
using
I'm doing compared to other men out there around the
Oh.
world. That's how I feel sometimes.
If you are not done, your progress as it corresponds to the average man is below average. You are a below average man. So it's kind of a demotivational thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this may be our future. Audio assembly instructions, downloadable only from our website, which of course is rhett-link.com.
That's right. Oh, we're turning this into a promotion. We should probably turn this back into a promotion for Kingsley. Thanks to Kingsley for being on the ear biscuits and giving us a real biscuit to sink our ears into. If you want to let Kingsley know how much you appreciate him being on ear biscuits,
And please do.
You can tweet at him. That's at Kingsley. There's 3 Y's at the end though. He's got that one. That's
So it's
his Kingsley.
Kingsley with 2 extra Y's.
So 3 total Y's, all at the end.
So let him know, #earbiscuits on that. Also give us feedback that way. And as we always say, leave a review on iTunes, leave a comment on SoundCloud. These things are valuable to us in many ways.
Emotionally, mostly.
Yeah, if they're positive.
Okay, well, we'll be back next week with another biscuit.
Count on it.